Hey guys, my name is Indian Agent 47 and this is an analysis of driving mechanics of various open world games. Have you ever become completely obsessed with a really specific mechanic or a feature of a game? Take for example anything, say the character movement, a specific animation or how the world is designed, etc. You become so obsessed it's the only thing you can think of while you're trying to sleep at night and you think, oh man, I can't wait to wake up tomorrow and launch the game and play its specific feature mechanic. Well, the same thing happened to me with Sleeping Dogs. Despite the great combat or the amazing story or the beautiful world, the only thing I had my full attention towards was the driving. Yeah, I know, it's nothing special, but for some reason I was mesmerized. Now you might say, well, how about you go play an actual racing car driving game where the driving is the core of the game and all effort has been put in it. And I did, and I just didn't enjoy it to the point of Sleeping Dogs. The thing I can summarize myself from this situation is that the driving in Sleeping Dogs and all the other games I'll be talking about in this video, it's not the main focus. It's a major feature, sure, but it's not the main thing the devs set out to do in this game. It's one of the say 5 core mechanics, each one of them equally important. And that's the thing, for me I found it really interesting how each game handled the driving because every game was different, both in the mechanics and the cars too, since all the cars are based off on real life ones and are created from scratch. So after playing Sleeping Dogs, I played Just Cause 3, Mafia 3 and Watch Dogs 1 and 2 to see and experience the different style and handling of the driving mechanics. Those are the games I'll be discussing too, so let's begin with Sleeping Dogs. First of all, it's an amazing game, hands down. It has great storyline and an amazing world and gameplay. It's definitely one of the greatest open world games of all time. Now about the driving, one of the things I love is how well the cars handle. You always have full control and the steering and sensitivity is just right. The handbrake works well too, though I think it's a little bit too hard. It can, if you press for more than a couple seconds, completely stop your car. You have to press it for a really short time to make it turn around corners as desired. Every car does feel different in terms of handling and weight, and it's implemented really well. For example, Velocita, the most expensive car in the game and maybe the highest speed, feels really heavy, while Blast, inspired from a Lamborghini, feels light and can steer around corners pretty easily while also having good high speed. There's a huge variety of cars too, each one different in handling as well as aesthetics. The bikes are perhaps the best thing about this game. They are really fun and it's a blast driving them in downtown area where you can do a lot of stunts. There's even a car combat mechanic where you can ram onto other enemy vehicles. You can use this while doing a stunt on a staircase too, just press the ram button just when you're about to fly and enjoy. As for the bad parts of the driving, the camera is really bad. It moves with you on every turn you make and it doesn't feel good. The handbrake on the bikes is pretty much ineffective, so you have to use the main brake or the back button to brake through. Bikes are really flexible in corners too, so it's not really required. Overall, they have done a great job on the driving in a game where it's not the main focus. Anyways, that's about Sleeping Dogs. I highly recommend this game, and now let's move on to Mafia 3. The driving in this game is pretty good. There is for starters a simulation mode made specifically for driving and I played the entire game with that. First of all, I love how heavy the cars feel in this game. Making just the right turn as you wanted is tough and hence very satisfying. But when you don't make that turn, your car goes sliding down and it gets pretty messy. Another great thing while making turns is that camera. It follows the car in a really unique way, going as far as you turn the car, which again feels really satisfying. There are some great cars here. You got amazing looking cars inspired from actual cars of the 60s and some of them are really good, like the Delio Triavetta and the Griffin Marauder, which you get after completing first in all the races. One thing I hate is that there are no bikes whatsoever in this game. Like, come on, I'm sure there must have been bikes on the road in the 60s. The brakes and acceleration are perfectly tuned and driving is one of the best things about this game. Just Cause 3 is a sort of mixed pack, cause the best cars in the game are the only ones which actually handle well. The rest are really hard to drive. The turning feels really heavy and the handbrakes were too hard. Nevertheless, getting a perfect turn while maintaining your speed is possible and really satisfying to pull off. There's this one car, Verdelon, which is the best one in the game. It's also the only car which in my opinion can turn easily without feeling very heavy and is a blast to drive. There are some other great cars too, like the D70 and the Mugello Quiposa. These are my favorites. But don't get me started on the bikes. Driving bikes in this game is a nightmare. Honestly, I think these are the worst bike mechanics I've ever seen in a game. There's like a complete second of delay when you press left or right. Like, how did they let this pass while Q&A? There's this one bike though called Stria Giovanni, which is a little bit better to drive in comparison to others, but overall the bike driving is really bad. Driving is certainly not the best aspect of this game, but it's still very enjoyable and I appreciate the plan they were going for with realistic driving mechanics, but they didn't fully achieve it, unfortunately. The next one on the list is Watch Dogs. Oh boy, I have a lot to say about this one. To start off, I love the third person perspective of cars. It looks great and the car models are amazing. You've got great cars like the Scafati GT, the Livraga 350 and the Vespid 12.5, and to be honest, each car is awesome in its own way. But the actual driving mechanics, this game has perhaps the most hated driving mechanics of any game, but I would say it's not very bad. Cars feel really heavy and the handbrake works really lightly, so it's really tough to make turns while maintaining your speed. You'll always have to stop your car before making a turn. Sure, it is possible too, but it's really tough. And every car does somewhat behave differently from each other, but each one of them are really tough to drive. The worst thing I hate about this game is that they've got really nice car models, so all that was left was to just tweak handling and acceleration right, and they did a terrible job at that. What's worse is that there's this stupid reputation system which detects points every time you hit someone, and with mechanics like these it's hard not to hit anyone. The bike driving though is a lot better and it's a lot of fun. The world is amazingly designed and it allows for stunts, so it's a lot of fun to transfer to the bike. Overall, I get what they were doing, but it still feels really unfinished. There's not much to say about the sequel other than they have reduced the weight of the cars, changed the camera perspective, which I hate, and added a couple of cars, but now it's actually possible to ride a car though, and that's nice. Anyways, that brings us to the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. What's your favorite one out of these? You can tell me in the comments. Peace out and I'll see you all later.